Everybody, and welcome to another A Chapter a Day Keeps the Doctor Away. My name is Alan, otherwise known as He Sweet, and I'm from ReverseThieves.com and the Speakeasy Podcast. And this time I'll be looking at Bleach 558, otherwise known as Heart of the Wolf. And I guess we're saying goodbye to Sajin, or at least Sajin as his human form. He basically upgraded his Bankai, but in return, he loses his humanity and is able to beat Bambi and her exploding stuff, which kind of reminds me of that one Hollow way back in the beginning who had exploding bombs as well. But apparently, this exploding bomb girl is very different. And so, yeah, his new, undead thing, just the bombs go through her. The bombs go through him, and they go back and boomerang on the girl. And he wins. And then he goes through this whole scene where he realizes that going on the path of revenge has turned him into a beast, just like his friend. And so, like Tosin, he is being consumed by his quest. And I don't know. It's weird. Sajin is just enough of a character that I don't feel this is totally cheap. Because it's not like he's soldier we've never met before. And then the main characters come over and talk to him and he's like, man, once this war is over, I'm totally gonna settle down with my girlfriend and open up a shop and get married. And then you're like, oh well, this guy is friggin' dead. And then he dies and you're like, well, I had no attachment to that guy other than his one story about how he was gonna get married when this horrible war was over. Who cares? But on the other hand, I also kind of feel like he wasn't in enough that you're like, no. You're like, oh. You're more like, oh, that guy. Yeah, I generally remember his chapters. They weren't bad. No, my favorites. No. But not bad. Never disliked that character. So I guess I'm not happy he's gone. I'm not really upset. I mean, not to compare it to, what I just did yesterday, but I really feel like when Law gets shot up and is quite possibly dead, although it is one piece, so he might make a miraculous recovery. But I feel like Law had been around in these last few chapters, and he was one of the supernovas, then he was kind of mysterious, and then he saved Luffy at the Marine War, and then these last two arcs he's really been prominent, and he made an alliance. And yeah, I mean, if you compared number of pages that Sajin and Law are in both chapters, like if you said they were the same, I wouldn't be shocked. But I really feel like Law made an impression, and when he gets shot by Don Flamingo, you're like, oh, damn. Once again, you might not be like, no, most important death in One Piece ever. But I don't know, it just had a bigger impact. Whereas this guy turning into a wolf fully, you're like, I don't know, your mileage may vary. I might just, find that Sajin has the hugest fan club, and I'm just gonna get nothing but angry comments on this video. How dare you minimalize Sajin's tragic sacrifice? He was one of the greatest characters. And if so, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sajin fanbase. I just wasn't moved. I don't think it was bad. I feel like it wanted to be more impactful than it was. But, I guess, once again, when you go on the path of revenge, you should make two graves. But on the other hand, the girl that he takes out, well, kind of takes out, Bambi, man, did I get a Cyrano vibe off her? I feel like she should have been running around, I am the strongest! Because for all the smack talk and build up they have for her, she just kind of goes out like a punk. I mean, she takes out some, like, no-name nobodies, but those are cannon fodder Shinigami. No one really cares about them. They're like, it's like, taking out the regular troops in a Dynasty Warrior games. No one's really impressed by that. No one's like, wow, you're really skillful. You were able to take down, like, 5 or 6 of those generic troopers in a Dynasty Warriors game. You really are the game master. But yeah, when she, faced somebody who actually had, a backstory and was in more than 2 chapters, yeah, she just totally gets her bum handed to her. And you're like, man, you are not Bambi, you're Bambi's mom. Oh! So, yeah, that's that. I mean, she's technically not dead. She's like, just, her allies are gonna finish her off, but she's pretty much gone. And you're like, well, Cyrano, hopefully, you eventually become a meme, and in your death, become more interesting. But, hey! If nothing else in this chapter, Rukia and Renji are coming back, and man, I feel like Rukia just dropped off the face of the manga. I mean, back in the Hecto Mexico arc, you were like, oh, I guess Rukia participated in that as well. Kind of like, I don't know, how, Shad does. Where you're like, oh man, Chad appeared, and then he kind of was mostly there to be a jobber and prove, man, this guy's really tough. I'm like, man, I remember when Rukia was cool and important and not just a jobber. Hopefully, since this is the last arc, they'll let her have that again. But we'll see. I mean, she is with Renji, who is the jobber of all jobbers. So that's not a good sign. It's kind of like, maybe Renji will totally get jobbered. Thereby Rukia can step up and be awesome. There you go. That's the way to look at it. Alright. That was Bleach 558. See you in 559.